With their players scattered across the world and no team in Super Rugby, Argentina can look more like a Tier 2 rugby nation than a Tier 1. And yet, in their last 5 Rugby World Cups, they have achieved 3 semi-finals. And last year, for the first time ever, they defeated Australia, South Africa and New Zealand in the same season. In this video, I'll be deep diving how Argentina continues to defy the odds and compete with rugby's best, and I'll be answering the question, where do Argentinian rugby players even come from? When people say that Argentina's players are spread across the 4 corners of the globe, they aren't kidding. Let's look at the starting 15 that took on the All Blacks in the first round of the Rugby Championship in 2024. We see that those 15 players were spread across 5 different leagues, compared to their opposition, whose players were spread across just 5 different clubs. In fact, if we break it down by club, it gets even worse. No fewer than 10 different club sides were represented in this Argentinian starting 15. What's more, the age profile of the team had dropped significantly since the World Cup. Just 3 of that starting 15 were aged 30 or over, whilst 7 players were aged 25 or under. So where have these new players come from? When the Jaguares were dismissed from Super Rugby during the pandemic, Argentina lost its sole representative in the top 4 rugby competitions. Those 4 being Super Rugby, the top 14, the URC and the English Premiership. But whilst the club may have gone, the pathway did not disappear. Initially, the Jaguares dropped down to play in Super Rugby Americas. Playing under the name of the Jaguares 15, they won the league at their first attempt in 2021. In 2022, however, the Jaguares split into 2 teams, the Dogos and the Pampas. In the 2024 season, Dogos and Pampas finished 1 and 2 in the league. Pampas won all but 1 of their regular season league games, but the Dogos lifted the title, beating their compatriots in the grand final. And then below Super Rugby Americas, you have the URBA, sometimes known as the Top 12. This is the Argentinian Domestic League. Founded in 1899, the URBA is one of the world's oldest rugby competitions. And this is where Argentina's top players learn their trade and cut their teeth. But once they've excelled at this level, they often get picked up by clubs abroad. For example, Benetton in Italy is a popular destination for Argentinian players. Many Argentinians have Italian heritage and find a natural home at the URC side. The English Premiership is also a popular destination for Argentinian players. In fact, last year, the Daily Telegraph wrote an article calling Argentinian players the must-have signings for Premiership teams. In the article, Dean Richards explained why. He said, quote, "I found their commitment to be remarkable, provided the right environment is in place. Argentinian players possess an innate understanding of the game, often surpassing their Anglo-Saxon counterparts." So that explains where Argentinian players come from, but it doesn't answer the question how a team of supposed strangers defeated the mighty All Blacks in New Zealand. Above club level, the Argentinian under-20s team competes in the Rugby Championship under-20s competition against the Australians, the South Africans and the All Blacks, with whom they compete in the Rugby Championship senior competition. And of course, they compete in the under-20s World Championships, where in 2024 they finished 5th overall. Argentina also lean much more heavily on their successful Sevens program than many of their competitors do. But now we come to Argentina's secret weapon, the main thing that they utilise that many of their opposition do not. And that is an extremely active and competitive B team. Known as the Argentina 15, they play regular matches against fellow South American test teams such as Uruguay and Brazil, as well as Tier 2 nations from around the world such as Namibia. To demonstrate the effectiveness of this innovative system, let's revisit that starting 15 that defeated the All Blacks in 2024. What we can see is that no fewer than 9 of those 15 players can trace their roots back to the Jaguares team that finished runner-up to the Crusaders in the 2019 Super Rugby season. Furthermore, 12 of these players had at some point in their career played for either the Jaguares or the Jaguares 15. And whilst they may not all have featured in the team at the same time, what this shows is that 80% of that starting lineup had come through the same finishing school. They had all received the same coaching and the same philosophies in the same place. Going further back, we see that 4 of that 15 were Argentina 15 teammates in 2016, and another 2 wore that jersey in 2021. 4 of the team were under-20s teammates in 2019 and another 3 were under-20s teammates in 2016. Some of them even crossed paths outside of Argentina. 4 of the players were at Newcastle Falcons, and Saracens and Toulouse had 2 Pumas each. 3 of the players were at London Irish in 2023, whilst Matera and Kremer were teammates at Stade Francais in 2021. So we see that far from being strangers thrown together once or twice a year to take on the world's best, this is actually a nation using its pathways in an innovative way to maintain high levels of cohesion. And remember I said about the players getting younger? Well, whilst their age profile is going down, their experience is doing anything but. The average number of caps in that team that beats the All Blacks was 37. There were just 3 players who had fewer than 20. So I hope you found that video thought-provoking. If you did, please leave those thoughts in the comments down below, subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in the next video. Cheers.